All right, peace, peace, peace. First and foremost, hopefully the Most High in your house shall blessing your day. By His mercy, we aren't consumed. We're alive in the Most High in your house shall body. And two, we're naturally alive, man. That's another thing too, man. That's a lot of thing too, just to be alive in the Most High in your house shall body. And two, naturally alive as well, man. Because last night, man, good thing the man was okay, man. But outside my job last night, somebody got hit by a car, man. One of the a delivery man. He was on a bike, he got he got hit, man. But it's more of a reminder. I hope everything's all right with him. But it's more of a reminder just to enjoy, like Psalms and Sirach says, this is the day that the Lord has made. Be rejoice and be glad in it, because we don't. The Most High in your house doesn't owe us another second, another minute, another day, another week, another year, another month, another year, another 10 years, another 20 years, man. But it's really that's why Proverbs 27 says that, man, and James says that, and Matthew says that, man, if it be the Father's will, you see another day, or just focus on right now, the moment, rather than the tomorrow, man, because you don't even know if tomorrow will come. Now you boast yourself of tomorrow because you don't even know, because it's not promised, as they say. And also too, like James says, if it be the Lord's will, say if you got plans, in a year, if you want to go to another city, another country, whatever, or just your plans in general, that's to say that be the Lord's will. Shoot, say the Lord's will, you be another see another day, see another because I remember old Ghostface interview with from Montreal. It was 10 years ago, 2014, man. He said, man, if I count how many times I had to thank the Most High, man, for getting me to my destination safely, man, I'll go crazy, man. That's very true, man. So yeah, man, I just want to say that too. But really, also too, but I want to go into this too, because today's the 6th, and I was reading Proverbs 6. I just finished reading Proverbs 6, but But also too, I was want to shout out to brother Simbi Firstborn. I was watching his class yesterday, one of the classes. But also too, I was watching actually a few months ago, I was watching Seven by Kevin Spacey, and I believe we did a video about that, man. How there's a lot of times too, like John 16, how that movie kind of lined up with John 16, in the sense that there'd be people that think they're doing the Most High house as work, but really But really, they're not. That's really not of the Father, because he was. If y'all ever seen the movie, he was a serial killer, but he was killing them in his mind according to the seven deadly sins. Which we about to get into in Proverbs 6, where that whole concept comes from. I believe it comes from the Catholic Church, but also too, he was doing it in the aspect of of more of that. It was more pervert. Yeah, it was more. It was actually more iniquity, man. And that's what perverting the word for his own gain, for his own lust, for murder, for for his own gain, man, for his own lust, for murder, for bloodshed, man. Because he was a serial killer at the end of the day. So he was pretty much doing what was right in his own eyes, and that wasn't the right way according to the Most High house shot, man. But we talked about that though, man. We talked about that though. But yeah, but I want to get into this whole thing, the whole the whole seven deadly sins concept, man. Because there's no really such thing as seven deadly sins. Because where it comes from, I mean, from my perspective, where I believe it comes from, is Proverbs 6, what we about to read today, man. But those are things the Most High house that hates, man. It's they're abominations to him. They really can't stand it. But all sin is deadly. So but we're just gonna go into it now. Let's get Proverbs chapter 16 and 6 and 16. But also too, these are all the things that Yahushua went through, man. So because Proverbs chapter 6, because he comes in the volume of the book, of course. Proverbs 6 and verse 16. These 16 the Lord hath, and the seventh are abomination to him. A proud look. Yahushua dealt with the pride of us, of our people, man. They didn't want to hear him. They're forever. Also too, the scribes and Pharisees, they was proud. A lying tongue, they lied on him. Hands that shed innocent blood. Well, that happened to Yahushua. A heart that devises wicked imaginations, and feet that be swift to. Let me read this again. Verse 18. A heart that devises devises wicked imaginations. Feet that be swift to run into mischief. Yeah, that's back to the law, like following the multitude to do evil. That's what had you happen to your house as well. That's why I said crucify him. Like a lot of, other people they ran that was to do evil. So and also too that's actually what you call them wicked thoughts, man. When you're plotting and scheming and acting on the evil, man, not just having Don't get twisted. Like wisdom of Solomon says, like certain thoughts that you have can separate you from Most High Yahushua. But then that's what like Paul says, cast those thoughts down to captivity to Yahushua, man. But that's what that is. Wicked thoughts are plotting and planning to do evil, man. That's actually an acting on it. But Yahushua went through this. But it says a heart that devises wicked imaginations and feet that be swift and run into mischief. It says a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. So yeah, that happened to Yahushua. They lied on him. They for scribes and Pharisees would accuse him. They was of their father the devil, like the accuser. Like that's how Satan is, man. It's accusing, just like Job's friends. It's accusing. That's the spirit of Satan, man. Like especially even case in point, I'm glad we mentioned this because I'm glad it's something if I were to do that man that got hit last night in the by a car, the delivery man, I could couldn't it be some judgment from the Lord, or it could have been time and chance? Because that would be wicked of me saying, oh man, he must have done something. That's judgment of the Lord, things of that nature. It could have been, but I can't. That shouldn't be your first go to, especially when trials and tribulations or something that is going on in somebody's life, man. Because now one, this is different dynamic. If you know that person, you know how to live in, whether in the word or out the word, and and they going through things, especially as self-inflicted. That's that First Peter 2:20. Okay, yeah, you going through it, and that's on your own merit, man. Because you're living contrary to Most High Yahushua, man. You're being living evil, living wickedly. So. And sometimes it's like the Most High Yahushua could be trying somebody. One trials and tribulation, guards was. It could be refining them. They could just be going through that. And also too, sometimes it's time and chance. Some things is just life, man. So, but the first thing, especially if we even for myself, man, if you're going through something, it's like you see somebody going through something, you can't just say, "Oh man, it's judgment of the Lord, man." This person must have been doing that, because that's a Satan type of spirit. That's an accusing type of spirit, man. Now, if you get more details, and if you know the person, depending on the dynamic, okay, that can be the case, but that shouldn't be the moral operandi. That shouldn't be the first thing, because that's just what the spirit of Satan. That's the spirit of Job's friends. That's the accusing spirit. That's not good. So that's actually kind of be more words of comfort to people than that. But now if they're going through something and that's what the Most High Yahushua, is putting through that, or their judgment that there's nothing you can do. That's you got to let the Most High Yahushua deal with that. But you just having that accusing spirit, that's not good. But that's neither here nor there. It says, and a false witness that speaketh lie, he that soweth discord among brethren. So Yahushua went that. But this is where all the quote unquote deadly sins come from, man. But these are things Yahushua went through. And also too, man, this is things that the Most High Yahushua doesn't like. There's things that even as people we have things that we don't like, but it's the things that really the pet peeves, as you would say. This is really things that I really don't like, man. That's because natural people have things that they don't like, but it's just certain people that have pet peeves. I really don't like that. But there's a lot of things that that the Most High Yahushua doesn't really like, because Sirach says things are the sin is abomination. But it says, but let's get Proverbs 6:16 again. It says, these things do with the Lord hate, and yea, 7 are abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that imagine wicked imaginations, and feet that be swift to running to mischief. Oh yeah, and that wicked imaginations too goes into how the Pharisees and scribes plotted to kill him, man. How they schemed and plotted to kill him. It says, and a false witness that speak a lie, and he that soweth discord among brethren. So yeah, man, there's no such thing as something that since I can get where for somebody reading this and then how it was taught somebody coming to that conclusion, but no, all sin is deadly, man. That's a sin is unbelief, man. That could be the word idol worship, so. And I believe, the brother said, 71st, but I don't even think in their 7 deadly sins, that the whole thing, that's even having worshiping other gods, or being unfaithful. I don't think that's even in there, man. So But yeah, man, let's go to Romans real quick, man, because there's no really such thing as that. Romans 6:23. It says, "For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of Yahweh is eternal life through Yahweh Hamashiach our Lord." Yeah, so the wages of sin is death, man. They say this to seven, man, because that's just because like James says, listen, you break one, you break all. So yeah, it says whosoever, yeah, exactly. James chapter 2, verse 10, it says, "For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he's guilty of all." Yeah, so exactly, man. So you break one, you break all, man. So that's just not the seven deadly, man. Because that, because all sin is it's deadly, man. Like anything contrary to Most High Yahweh is deadly, man. Because don't get it twisted. Because there's certain things that the Most High Yahweh it's not like they just don't like. It's like, okay, cool. That's not necessarily sin per se, but I'm just not contrary to that. It's some things, just fix that. I don't like that. If there's moments like this, I know I could be better at that. I'd be sin per se, but it's really unrighteous. It's not the just thing to do. So, and that's what the Most High likes: just judgment, just ways, just balances. So, well, yeah, let's get to First John chapter 5, verse 17. All unrighteousness is sin, and there's a sin not unto death. Yeah, there's a sin not unto death. But yeah, but here's verse 18. But we know that who is born of Yahweh sinneth not, and he that is begotten of Yahweh keepeth himself, and that wicked one touches him not. So yeah. But yeah, like the brother said last night in the class. Well, I was watching one of the other classes, but he wasn't had a class last night. Listen, and here's a misconception too, man. Here's another misconception. Or if you're born in the word, you just don't sin, man. As long as you're living faithfully, living according to promise, man, the word in you, to see it in you, like Luke 8:11, the word's in you, not going to sin, man, because that's what Yahushua came to made us free from, on this side and the next, sin and death. But also too, but notice how it says the wicked one touching him not, and that's where that Sirach 2 kind of comes into play. But it's the fact that a lot of times too, I don't know, especially when we come in the word, we think and this happened to me too, that Satan's just going to leave you alone. Yeah, of course it says the wicked one won't touch him not. He's not going to because the Most High House said, "Well, I give you power to overcome Satan, man." He said, "I overcame Satan as light and it fell." But also too, but it's not that means Satan's going to stop trying to tempt you. No, it's with certain things, but tempt you according to your own lust, because that's what it is. No, that's just what he does. So we kind of talked about this yesterday. That's what Satan's job is, to do what he did to Eve, man, and we're Eve, to get them to doubt the word, or go at their own desires, that's just is what it is. But just because let's get this Sirach 2 real quick, man, because that's just is what it is. Real quick, let's get Sirach chapter 2, verse 1. "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thyself from temptation." So what's that? Not the only temptation, one, because we know Most High Yahweh doesn't tempt you, but that means the trials and tribulation, because much tribulation comes to kingdom, the inward kingdom and the physical kingdom. That's what it is too. So that's what it is too. And trials to tempt you, temptation, what, from your own lust, your own desires, but also too the tempter, man, Satan. That's kind of part of it too. He's gonna try to tempt you with your own desires as well. He could walk to and fro as a lion, see who he can get. So that's another thing too. But because I want to focus on that, because just because we come in the word doesn't mean and also too, that doesn't mean the flesh goes away either, because the Most High Yahweh never said that. That's why he says walk in the spirit. Don't will we have our moments of because I know I still have a lot of my moments in the flesh, I can handle that better, but it says listen, walk in the spirit, as long as you walking in Exodus 34:6, Numbers 14:18, Jeremiah 9:24, Galatians 5:22. This in the spirit, man. You're no condemnation in that. But the flesh is always gonna be there, because Acts 16 says, and James 5:17. Listen, these people were here. They were holy people, man. These were righteous men and women, but they still had like passions. They was just like us, man. They just said they went through the same human experience as well, man. Because a lot of times too, the human experience can be taken out of that as well. So I just wanted to bring that out too. Yeah, man. But back to the point, man. It says all unrighteousness is sin, and there's a sin that is not unto death. So, yeah, man, because you know why that is too is not good to say that seven deadly sins, because it's like it's going to breed in people like that Psalms, like what David said in Psalms 19, which we about to get, that presumptuous sin, like like, okay, listen, I can sin a little bit here, like, because I even had to stop this mentality, like, okay, I did all this here, but you know what that Ezekiel 33 says? Listen, if you do even one thing, like, all of the all righteous things that you did will be forgotten. But if a wicked man turn and does righteously, live faithfully, like, he'll be more justified, man. So that's where that which comes in there, because you'll think like, okay, cool. It can lead to that presumptuous sin mentality. Like, okay, cool. I can sin here, but I just can't do these seven. No, like, you can't do none of them, because it said all unrighteousness. Let's read again. 1 John chapter 5 verse 17. All unrighteousness is sin, and there's a sin not unto death. So certain things, it's like unbelief is that sin. But let's get Psalm chapter 19 real quick, man. Yeah, man. So there's no such thing as uh settling uh yeah, Psalm chapter 19 verse 13. It says, keep thy servant from presumptuous sin, let them not have dominion over me. And then I shall be upright. Yep. Favor. And then I shall be innocent from great transgression. So yeah, exactly. So that's what it says. So keep not away from presumptuous sins. And that's what the same thing Sirach says in here in 23, man. He says, listen, who's going to scourge my thoughts, man? Like, if there's something wrong with me, tell me, man. Whether it's, you, your house shot, your word, correcting me, but also other people, man. Scourge my thoughts. Yeah, exactly. Let's get Ecclesiastes, also known as Sirach, chapter 23 and verse 2. It says, who will set scourges over my thoughts and the discipline of wisdom over my heart? They that spare me, not for my ignorances, and pass by my sins, and pass not by my sins. It says, verse 3, let least my ignorances increase and my sins abound to my destruction. I fall before my adversaries, and my enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercies. Exactly, man. That's is what it is too. So he says the Sirach is sitting there saying, like, listen, there's something wrong. Tell me, Father, tell me, like, whether it's, of course, your word, your house shot, your word, other people, man. Let me know. I want to be correct. I need that. Like, that's why it says a wise man, like, learns more from a rebuke than a compliment, man. So, yeah, man, because, like, that's is what it is. But it says, Psalm chapter 19, verse 13, it says, keep thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Also, too, man, it says, listen, that's what it is. That's why, that's another reason why, because, we can, for Lord willing, we're gonna talk about soon. David was the son of God, because even like on the natural tip, like, in 1 Samuel 16, it says how he had a ruddy countenance, how his countenance was ruddy. Now, of course, we know, like, on the natural tip, he was like, that means he was light skinned, pretty much, like, they in Malcolm X movie, how they called him Big Red, like, he means he was ruddy, he was very light skinned, like, just like Red Fox, or like, red, like we call now our women as a light skinned red bone. But that's another story for another day. But the reason why he was ruddy, because Adam, what does Adam name means? Ruddy. And so that pretty much what was the reason why, the meaning of that, why it was in there, because David, pretty much what it was kind of getting at, that David was a son of God, man. So, like, now the son of David gave us power to be sons and daughters of the Most High Yahweh, sons of them, man, sons of God as well. But that's another story for another day. I'll speak as a man, but that's another story for another day. That's another video for another day. But notice how he like, I mentioned that because let's go back to Genesis 4, because it says sin. He doesn't want that to have dominion over him, man. Because actually, crazy thing is, man, and that's the important of the word being passed down. Because I remember, I don't know why they had Richard Gere that he might playing King David, but there's a movie that came out 4 years ago in 1985, of King David. It starred Richard Gere, but in the movie it has, like, it has a Levitical priest explaining to David about Jacob and things of that nature. So they had, like, they had them teach him the word. So that's where probably David's saying, listen, let that not have dominion over me, because he's getting this from where? Genesis 4. Let's get Genesis 4 real quick, man. We're gonna see this. It says, "If thou doest well, it shall not be. Shall that not be accepted? If thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee it shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him." So, but notice how David's saying, "Listen, don't have sin that rule over me, man." Exactly, because you know, um, because that's what it is. It's that Genesis 3:15, like really, pretty much, man. That's all that the Most High house shall see versus the serpent seed versus Satan's seed, man. And we seen that with Cain and Abel, Jacob and Esau, Saul and David, like Pharisees, Yahushua, man. Like they're all. That's all that was as well too. And that Second Samuel 3:1, that's pretty much prophetic as well. The house of Saul was waxing weaker, and the house of David waxed stronger. And like Second Ezra said, faith shall wax stronger. And the house of David, son of David, that is pretty much faith. And the house of the Pharisees, the wickedness, malicious, evil, like persecution, man. So the house of Saul was like, the Pharisees. House of David is Yahushua, And so that's just is what it is as well. But notice how that's where, like, David's saying, listen, don't have that rule over me. It says, Psalms chapter 19, verse 13. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sin. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. So yeah, man. That's just what it is, man. But notice how that presumptuous sin, man. So all sin is unrighteous. All unrighteousness is sin. There's no seven deadly sin. All sin is deadly, man. Like, because why? You'll be with, let's get Proverbs 21:16, because you're without understanding. Like, you'll be naturally dead, man. Like, you'll be natural. Well, not spirit. I mean, I'm sorry. You'll be spiritually dead, even more than naturally dead. You'll be just dead on this side, man. Like, dead and spiritually dead. You'll be alive, but you're not spiritually alive, man. Like, because like we shared the other day, that real, like, it's the Sixth Sense. I was watching that a few weeks ago, man. It's like really without the Most High house of spirit, without their spirit, without their guidance, like you're pretty much dead, man. You're alive, but you're dead, naturally alive, but without that breath of life. Like, it says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. And, like Jeremiah 14 says, our people like to wander. Just the world likes to wander as well, away from the will of the Most High Yahshua, the faithfulness, but also too, like, especially our people, man. But yeah, man, that's just what it is, man. But there's no such like thing as seven deadly sins, man. So, I just wanted to get into that. Hopefully, this is edifying for y'all brothers and sisters. And that is the difference between those things that the Most High Yahshua can't stand. Like, also two of those things that Yahshua went through as far as gospel testimony wise. But, those are things that Most High Yahshua really can't stand. But, all sin and unrighteousness is bad in their eyes, man. So, hopefully, this is edifying. So, peace.